Well, hello, and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast, brought to us by Willow Creek Springs. I'm Joe Grumbine, and I am your host, and I have with me a very special guest, Erin Wilkins. She's back for more. How are you doing today, Erin?
Doing well. We have finally hit summer in Idaho, so I've been out planting a few things and enjoying it.
Nice. Summer already. Wow. We just got hit with kind of a little mini heat wave, and then all of a sudden the weather just switched its thing and it's cloudy and cool again. So I don't know.
Oh man.
It's okay though. I'll take all the cloudy cool days I can get out here. And where I live here, we get probably at least 60 days of over 100 degrees. So there will be plenty of heat.
No kidding. I know we kind of just missed spring. We went straight from like negative temperatures 20 and then hit 20 degrees and then all of a sudden it's 85. So
All right. Well, we're running a parallel course except for this week. So I noticed that you sent me a picture. You got your electroculture started.
yes. Yep. So I built, oh gosh, it's probably about 4.5 feet tall in my raspberry patch.
Okay.
And then we put a short one, probably about 2 feet in the strawberries in the front.
Okay.
So we're going to monitor the berries and see if that just gets them all excited.
Well, it's funny. Since we talked about that, and of course, I jumped head first into it and put a couple up myself, but I've been seeing more and more postings about it. And they're generally sort of obscure references to, this idea. I had a guy come over a few weeks ago who is a horticulturalist, and he's a big college educated plant guy. And sorry, that's my husky yelling at me. And I told him about the idea, and he thought about it, and he's like, yeah, I'll look into it. And he hasn't got back to me yet, but everything I see about it really just kind of states the claim that it causes the plants to grow faster and bigger, and who cares why if they do, right?
Right.
And so I put up a couple of different ways of doing it, and I've got another one that I haven't done yet. But sometimes when you do something, less is more, and sometimes more is more, and sometimes the right amount's the right amount. You don't ever really know how it's going to work. But in a case like this, I figured, well, it's kind of like working with CBD. Like, you're not going to overdose on it, right? You're not going to get too much negative ions collected from the air and causing your plants to uptake too many nutrients. Like, that's probably not going to happen. So
yeah, that's true.
I did a couple of them in a raised bed, and they're probably about 4 foot out of the ground. They're like a bamboo stake. And then I took basically I think it's a number 8 or number 10 ground wire, and wrapped it around it and made sure that the wire itself was a good 6 inches into the ground, and just kind of took it to the top. And then I was thinking about it, and I thought I had some soft copper 1/2-inch pipe, but I couldn't find it. But I did find a 10-foot stick of copper pipe. And so I went to my hugel culture and I just shoved that thing in the ground deep as I could. And I've got this, I don't know, maybe it's longer than 10 foot, maybe it's 12 foot or something, but I don't know. It's probably about 8 or 10 foot up out of the ground, just sticking up in the air. So, we'll see what happens. Everything around it seems to be doing good, but, it's not enough time has passed to see the difference between what's around it and not. It didn't seem to deter any critters, though. I had a bunch of baby beets get mowed down by some birds or squirrels or something. So I had to put up some little sprinklers with a motion sensor on it. That seems to be helping. So the things
Yeah,
we do.
and I think it's more, they actually could attract more birds and squirrels and things with the energy. I think it's more, it should repel the, like the slugs and the bugs and.
We're certainly finding all that out right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
The proof is in the pudding. So I feel like it's been months since we've talked. It seems like it's been forever, and it's only been a couple of weeks, I think. But
Yeah. Yep.
how have you been doing aside from getting warm?
Very good. Yeah, I just opened a dance studio in the bottom part of my house, and so
nice.
been doing dance therapy. That's been
Nice.
great. And then dance classes kick off tonight. And then I've got a kids class coming up later in the week. And so, yeah, that's been exciting to get that going.
Why don't we talk about dance therapy, since we're
Oh,
on the Healthy Living podcast, and we're here to talk about healthy living stuff. Why don't you give me a little? I've heard of every kind of therapy. Obviously, I'm doing horticultural therapy and all these different tools and techniques. Dance therapy seems like a good idea. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
yeah. So it's something that I started a few years back. Just feeling like sometimes people can't sit and talk with a counselor. Sometimes people don't really know what's going on. They just have a lot of angst inside or a lot of emotions, and they're very kinetic type people that need to move to express themselves. And so I find that dance therapy comes into play a lot with those types of people that maybe aren't artists or writers. They can't get that out in another artistic form. So yeah, I did a couple with some younger teenage girls last week they were processing a divorce and a stepfather that was in the picture now, and everything was just locked up and they didn't know how to deal with it. So dance therapy is always different for each person. I kind of tap in energetically what's going on, but a lot of it is finding out what they're struggling with through music first. And I try to hit the negative emotions first, tell them you don't have to tell me what's going on, but I need a song that expresses your negative emotions that you're feeling. Then we switch to happy so that they're not all bottled up in that place. And it's been really cool. It's been really cool to watch these girls just kind of either break down in tears and then leave with huge smiles. So the 13-year-old that's really processing, she's coming back next week with instructions to choreograph her happy dance and teach me. So I'm putting the control back in her lap and saying, you're going to teach me a dance this week. And so that's really cool. It was really cool. And probably the most positive feedback I got was she got in the car with her mom and her mom said, how'd it go? And I quote, it was good. She gets me. So I'm like, yay.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's kind of actually a little bit of a dirty trick, because when you have somebody's assignment to create something and then teach it, that really reinforces it. So anytime you teach something, that's like the ultimate way to learn it.
Yep.
And so she probably isn't going to see that one coming.
No, she was just excited. She's like, what?
Right,
Yay.
exactly. So
yeah,
the music itself, obviously it'd be pretty hard to dance without music, although I suppose you probably could. But the music itself, I mean, I've heard of music therapy for many, I don't know a whole lot about it, but that's part of why I'm doing this show, is so I can learn a bunch of stuff too,
yeah.
But the idea of music as therapy, I guess you kind of explained it, where it would be connecting your emotions. Music is a very emotional art form. And
Yep.
in fact, it's maybe a quintessential emotional art form, because everything about music is emotion, right?
Mhm.
It's almost like the outward physical appearance of an emotion could be construed as music, maybe. So to be able to connect with your emotions in a physical way without, talking about it, because it's kind of like pretty difficult to describe emotions sometimes, right? Because,
Oh, yeah.
I feel really angry, I feel really upset, I feel really sad or happy. That's really a letdown compared to what you're feeling, right? It just
Yep.
doesn't cut it. So the music itself could certainly convey those emotions or those feelings a whole lot more clearly, maybe. um what's your thoughts on how easily people, like, what if somebody doesn't know a lot of music and they just, you still want them to be able to uh use this tool?
Yeah. Well, when I have taught, and I've taught dance or music therapy for a number of years, I taught it at sorry, my cat's going after something on my
That's all good.
desk.
Got dogs
um,
making the rounds around here, so
I
I'm
know. I'm like,
bringing
why
it up.
are they being naughty? It's because I'm on the phone and I'm not paying attention to them.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've taught music therapy. It was very successful in an addiction center. And so
Okay.
a lot of those people, they don't know how, like, what emotion am I feeling? I just know that when I feel uncomfortable and I'm having this negative feeling, I just go to drugs or alcohol and just run to those things. And so through the music therapy, it comes across as being super fun, but I have them really pinpoint emotions. And we talk about how there really is only two emotions. There's only love and fear. And so if you have emotion that's not love, what are you afraid of? And so we'll go through different types of songs. And I would say, go to that side of the room if you think it's love, go to that side of the room if you think it's fear. And then we would talk about what would you be afraid of? What are you feeling in this? Very exploratory. You can really get at some super, super deep issues. And again, they're broadsided. They don't see it coming. It's just like, oh, we're just listening to music and having fun, you know?
Are there particular types of music that you use for this? I mean, when you say the word music, it's such a gigantic word, and it could be anything from somebody hitting a piece of metal to, a complex orchestral sonata, and everything and anything in between. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it can be anything. I know that when I use with dance therapy and music therapy, I try to focus in on things that that person really feels, because it's no point me playing some song that I think is a super happy song if they like hate it, you know?
right.
And so I've done therapy with anything from like, disco 70s to instrumental, Bach or Beethoven. And then I've even gone into like hardcore rap where they're just like very violent, but it expresses something on such a deep, visceral level for people. So yeah, I just kind of weigh each person. Everything's always different.
So it's interesting now today, like if you were doing this 20 years ago, it would have been a whole lot more difficult, because you would have had to have had all those musical sessions recorded somewhere somehow, and you'd have to be able to access them. Now you can just say out loud, play happy music, and something will come on, and it'll be somebody's idea of what happy music is. So we have access
Yep.
now to all information at our fingertips, including all musical, performances ever recorded.
Mhm.
So man, you've got a powerful set of tools now, as opposed to, like I said, maybe 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, even when I started, oh my gosh, I started teaching dance, I want to say probably almost 30 years ago now when I started teaching. And, you had to find the tapes, you had to find the
Right.
records, and then you had to record that onto whatever you were using, and it was very time consuming. It's now I just grab my phone, I go downstairs to my dance room, I've got my speaker Bluetooth to my phone, and I just go on Spotify.
Right.
Bam, there's everything you need.
Whatever
So
it
it's
is, it's
great.
right there. And that's just
Yep.
one platform. If that one didn't have it, there'd be another one.
Oh yeah.
Super cool. So, you know, music is a thing that I think everybody identifies with some form of music. I don't know that I've ever heard of anybody that was like, I don't like music. I mean, it's everything we do is talking is music. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the words we say are coming out in some spectrum of notes, right? I mean, it's every,
Mhm.
even some pitch is coming out. So, is there some type of music in the 30 years that you've been doing this, that shines as being more therapeutic than others?
No, because again, it goes back to the individual. Everything's them. And I mean, we're all, and that's what I've patterned my whole business after. If I don't think, typical doctors, you have a headache, you go in here, have a pill. I don't do that. You have a headache. Well, why? Everybody that has a headache is going to be for a different reason. And so that's what I treat. And so the same thing with every struggle, every connection. It won't work to play rap for somebody that hates rap,
No,
so,
probably not.
or
Unless you're trying
country,
to,
or yeah. So yeah, no, there isn't just like one thing. It's all over the board with music.
so you haven't found even, I mean, I guess, and um, it would be very subjective because it would speak maybe as much to the clients that found you or you found as it would to the type of music. But is there been a type of music that's been preferred by more of your clients?
Probably within the music therapy realm, but then we're also talking about when I was at the addiction center. It seems to gear towards rap or hard rock,
Okay.
like
Interesting.
that just expresses a lot of the anger or loss, pain, that types of things. You know,
All
doing
right.
dance therapy with these two girls. They're both struggling with sadness. That was their main emotion. And so their stuff's a whole lot calmer, it's all
Yeah,
very,
yeah. You got
yeah,
blues and country music for that, right?
yeah, yeah.
So when you integrate the dance into it, now you're dealing with physical movement corresponding with the music. And you
Excuse
were
me.
saying, bless you, you were saying that you're giving your client the assignment to choreograph a dance. Now, if you did that for me, I would not be very good at it because I'm not much of a dancer. So what do you do to people or for people that, really don't dance?
It's the movement piece. So it's just that expression. So yeah, some people I'll just say, hey, I want you to express what's going on through movement. But whatever you want to do. And you can have some people that just choose to sit and kind of, move their hands or kind of move their body a little bit. And some people that just get up and go for it.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
yeah.
So you're a dance instructor on top of all the other things that you do. So how do you incorporate that into this, or do you?
Into the therapy piece, or
Yeah.
for dance therapy I do. So one of the gals, just this week, her happy song was a country dance, and she was very reserved, very shy. um you could tell she was just really, really, really struggling, and I felt she needed some exercise just to learn some things to get her mind focused on steps. So at that point, I taught her a dance,
Okay.
um, listening to one of her favorite songs. So I said, okay, here's a dance that we're going to do to your favorite song. Um, Next week, if you want to meet again, you're going to choreograph one to teach me. And then just to watch the smile that came on her face, because she's in a lot of pain. She had a broken heart when she arrived, and when she left, she was just smile ear to ear, and just felt like, she'd let some of that out, let some of that happiness kind of out into her life.
So when you're dealing with these types of therapy, you're dealing with primarily emotional and spiritual kind of issues. But you would think, or I think anyways, that you could use dance therapy for physical therapy as well.
Oh yeah, it's excellent for that. When I was at the addiction center, I taught a dance class too. And so that was just, people just felt like they were having fun, but exercise is one way to get your endorphins going. So especially if you're dealing with, well, anybody, but when I was dealing with addicts, you need endorphins from somewhere else, so they don't try to get them from, drugs or alcohol. So yeah, I taught a pretty heavy duty, make you sweat and make you think type dance class, so that it just really got everyone's endorphins just really going.
Cool. Get that free shot of dopamine without having to put chemicals in you.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
That's kind of cool. So out of 30 years of doing this music therapy and dance therapy, what do you think your most remarkable? I mean, I'm sure it's probably hard to nail down one, but maybe pick a very remarkable experience that you've seen using this modality.
I know that it's helped people heal a lot with like the addiction stuff, but honestly, I think it was this past week with this 13-year-old girl that I saw.
Really?
13-year-olds, that's a rough age. I mean, it's just a super rough age.
I
And
wouldn't want to do it again.
no, and to add trauma and loss on top of it,
Right.
I
Trauma
could
through all the
sense,
drama.
oh yeah, I could sense the hardness. I could sense she was trying to put a case around her. I did like I did a little bit of energy work with her and kind of looked into her soul, and saw what she was going through. And I said, this is what you're going through. And she said, yep, it is. And I said, well, this is who your identity is meant to be. And it was just this picture, this beautiful flower that I saw, and her face lit up. And it was like watching somebody come in very hard, that callus was starting to form, and then watch her leave, almost like this beautiful flower that her petals were starting to open. And for her then to confirm that by telling her mom, like, well, she gets me. No 13-year-old is gonna really say that unless it was a pretty profound experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Being got at that age is kind of the whole key to it all, right? That's the whole problem, is nobody understands me, right?
Yeah.
You just don't get it. And
Yeah.
that's the angst of every teenager, and their adult counterpart. So and the funniest thing is they don't get themselves, and maybe when they start to got, they maybe start getting themselves a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I saw that happening, and that was really cool. Because somebody that age isn't gonna lie, isn't gonna like fake their emotions with you just to make you feel better. And so just to know that, yeah, she feels like at least there's someone in the world that understands her.
Right.
And that was powerful for me, because I felt, okay, yeah, that's great.
Well, I'm going to use your inspiration, or your practice as an inspiration again. So I borrowed your electroculture notion, and with our Gardens of Hope project, where we're using therapeutic horticulture and just using the gardens as a therapeutic venue, I think the idea of bringing in musical and dance therapy into this, creating some kind of a program, or just at least looking at that, I think doing that outside with your feet bare might be a really cool thing on top of it all.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know as soon as you started talking about the Gardens of Hope, it's like, oh my gosh, people just need to come barefoot and ground and do some color breathing and yoga and maybe some little dance moves. And yeah, it would be amazing.
Exactly. Well, that little beet and carrot garden that we put the one electroculture project in, I've got sand around it now. And so we've had a few people do their barefoot walk around it.
Cool.
And so that's kind of, the idea. I can't do that everywhere, but in certain places where I'm actually switching out. I've got gravel around the upper raised beds, and I'm taking it out and putting sand in its place, so it's easier to walk barefoot on. So I think
Oh,
that's a
that's wonderful.
great notion. And even just that is sort of a dance if you do it right?
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like the spiral dance of going into a maze or something like that. That's its own thing. So
Yeah.
well, we did it again. We burned up another session here, and we started out going, what do you want to talk about? And neither of us really knew. So we just said, well, let's just start talking. As always, Erin, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoy talking with you and hearing of your practice and your experiences. And why don't you give us once again how to get a hold of you? I'm your first episode just aired, so now you're in the regular rotation. So and I haven't even shared it with everybody, and some people have found you. So yeah, our first episode was published, and much more to come. But if anybody's in the Twin Falls area of Idaho, or anywhere really, since you do remote work as well, why don't you tell us how to get a hold of you?
Yep. So check out my website for just kind of a list of everything that I do. A lot can be done remotely. And give me a call, text me, call me, whatever. I'm here for people.
Fantastic. All right, Erin. Well, always a pleasure. And thank you for joining me.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. This has been the Healthy Living Podcast, brought to you by Willow Creek Springs.